Yeah, no, I mean, it was always, it's very tight, you know, it feels tight trying to get louder than the next person, you know. If you can be louder than all the synthesizer players that are comping in back of it and they're playing chords and the guitarists that are going along. So what we started to do in the end actually was bring it down to just bass and drums, and then some interesting stuff started to work. But I don't know, I like soloing away from it. I like soloing and just playing in a smaller, quieter context that has different kind of sounds around it. And really by '88 I kind of figured out that rather than try to bring that feeling into Frank's band from what I would do, that it was just easier to approach it as strictly the point of view as soloing within the arrangement or orchestration and letting the sound be the expression rather than whatever's going on as my expression of my experience in the world, have that be the expression. That wasn't the place for it. You know? And plus, the other big thing, there was always this emphasis among musicians about, like, well, where's the solo, and where's my solo, and do I get a solo here, and what about there? And it's this whole mentality of, like, scorekeeping and the whole thing, and it used to drive me crazy, because when you start to think that way, it means that, okay, now you're involved, now you're engaged, and you're attached to it, and you're holding on. And there's no way that the vibraphone or the marimba or even the gongs or anything in that situation are going to get louder than Frank or Tommy Mars. And in that situation, it's just pure volume that does it, that rocks the house, you know. And so to try to do it with instruments that weren't appropriate was, I never really enjoyed it, doing it, you know. I'd rather just be there and bring the music out through the sound of the percussion instruments.
It was like competition in typical rock context, who gets all the girls.
Yeah, if you think of it that way. But man, I mean, if you're thinking that way, it'll drive you fucking crazy. It'll drive you nuts, you know. It's like hell between here, you know. So.
Did you do anything for Frank after the
No.
Did you wait something to happen? Did you wait Frank's phone call?
No. I mean, you know, I knew what he was doing. He was doing his stuff, you know, and doing this Yellow Shark, you know, and I don't know what else. He's doing these things in Europe or whatever. But orchestra and chamber music, that it was kind of clear that it was time to do it. That if he didn't do it then, he wouldn't do it, and that was what that time period was about. And you know, at the end of '88, it was enough to where it was really clear to me that it was time to really do other things than play Frank's music.
Did you ever met Frank after
Nope, never saw him.
Okay, I would like to hear about your other collaborations, like with Ricky Jones, something like that.
Well, that was a band that had no drummer, which was great. And there was just upright bass and acoustic guitar and a guy who played woodwinds. And I was playing vibes and congas and percussion sounds. And was that it? Oh, and then there was this other guy, this old, you know, friend of hers, Sal Bernardi, was playing accordion and guitar. So it was great. I mean, it was just this really nice acoustic music, and we played a lot in the U.S., and I did a tour of Europe, and I'll always remember it fondly. It was great. You know, had a good time.
What kind of music?
It was kind of, you know her stuff, kind of folky jazz and blues influence. There's actually a laser CD of it, filmed at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles. I've never seen it, but I know it's available.
From what year?
It was 1993, I guess, or 2. Maybe it was even 1. No, I think it would have been 1992.
Andy Summers.
Yeah, I played on his. He had a record called Charming Snakes, and so I just played a couple days in the studio for him. And played on these various tracks that he had.
Have you heard? One of the
This was years ago. This was like 1980. I don't know what, 89 or 90.
Bill Crawford.
We played these duo shows together at the NAMM show here in Los Angeles, and then also the Frankfurt Music Messe. For Simmons, playing just two electronic percussionists. So we put together music that was original for that, and it was a great. It was 1986. So I think altogether we played like 35 1/2-hour shows or something. It was a lot, you know, but I had a good time. Mick Karn, I played on one track of his first CMP record. For David Torn actually brought me in, and I don't know. I think it was just pots and pans from a kitchen or something. Sounds, bells, and sounds. You know, it wasn't a whole lot. Oh, I did a lot of work with Kenny Loggins. Do you know Kenny Loggins? He's an American R&B artist. Great singer, unbelievable singer. So we did a live concert that was recorded and then filmed, and then a tour that summer. And who else? Mark Isham. I've done some work with Mark Isham. Some recording with Mark Isham. There's a movie called The Moderns that I played with him, and also one of his solo records, the last, not the most recent one, but the one before. And he's a great composer. I really enjoy working with him.
Do you compose anything about your own music? Do you compose for films or TV?
Not really, no. I'm just working on my own recordings. There's a bunch of stuff that'll be released this year. Stuff that I record here in this room, and it's all percussion music. And I'm not really interested in being a film composer or anything. I just want to do the music that I'm hearing and bring it out first as music, and then whatever happens with it is fine. But I've just been focusing on that. So far, I mean, a lot of it's just to do with sound. I'm doing all this work for Peisty Company now with sound and developing sounds for them and with them. And so this is the first volume that we just got together. And so this has actually been a time period. I don't know. I'll check, but it's been a time period for me where I've been specifically wanting to be away from organized music. I don't want to play in anybody's band, or I mean, I'm talking about the last 3 years. I haven't been, especially since we did that Band from Utopia thing. That for me, that was the big message of that it was time to absolutely do what was going on in here and nothing else. That it was otherwise. You spend all your time realizing other people's music, and every time you do it, you become immersed in their music. So I wanted to create this time where I could just completely get away from music and just let the only music that's going to come, let it be in here, and then record it in the room, you know. And just the music of that moment, you know, that doesn't require getting the drum sound, and now, you know, where do the chords go, and now what about the solo, and who's this, and how are we going to end it, and you know, all that stuff. It's about electric bands and arrangements. This music is more just about single notes and simple things, you know, sound, stuff that has to make you feel good first, and once it feels good, then the music can come out afterwards. But to me, the most important thing is that it feels right and that it feels good. So I've actually been taking a lot of this and doing work with music therapists and going to the national conventions for music therapy and working with those people with sound and doing workshops and that kind of stuff.